We're holding at the beginning of the Maimah of Shabbos Chol HaMoed, Sukkot, Tov Ain Beis, and Omid Tov Page Aleph, in the second chelik of Hemshech Ain Beis, and tonight is what's the date tonight already? It's Yud Zayin, early Yud Zayin Tevet. Toshinayim Vov. Okay, so we're holding approximately just past halfway down Omid Tov Reish Pei Aleph. We were dealing with the Inyan that there's no, it's not Shaykh Inyan Chutz Mimano, Ein Dover Chutz Mimano, and that means that Hu Levad Hu Ve'ein Zulosei, everything in Cain is bottled, B'tachlis Abitel Eilo, and that's the immediate Inyan of Akdusi is bottled. In other words, that Hu Levad Hu and all the Inyanim of no Metzias whatsoever, and that, oddly enough, the fact that they are completely of no Metzias and bottle, Elo is Borah, or that Mitzad Ritzeinei and Mitzad Kedusha, then that gives them a certain Metzias, the Kedusha, a certain Metzias Amitias, Mitzad Ritzeinei is Borah, in the sense that a Kodesh Baruch Hu writes behem, v'yesh behem eis a kavana elokis, and therefore they have a Metzias which is botil, even that it's not mavalvo, the Inyan of Akdusei is Borah, because they're still betech Akdusei, even though they have a certain Metzias Mitzad Ritzeinei. And that's, just by the way, that's, Agav, that's what is Mavur in the Hemshech HaChalchot Veid Mekemas, Bechsidus, that we don't say, we as Nivroim, Ve'ilam as Biyah, we don't say Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Yochid, we say Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. What Echad is, how it is mitzad the Nivroim that have a certain Metzias, mitzad Akdusis, Baruch HaAmitias, what they, Al-Kochach, have some form or gather of Metzias, and therefore even though they're not Mavalvel, Hashem Yochid, Aval Mitzidom, you can't really say Hashem Yochid, and therefore we say Hashem Echad would indicate so the same bittul, but it's mitzad, a certain herigesh of the Nivroim, how they are, mitzad Amidias Actors. Ma'ashenken, we saw that something which is mufrad, mi'atusi is borah, ein b'shum Metzias klau. As in Cain, how do we have the Metzias of the clippers, v'inyonim ha'mavalbalim le'elakus? So we saw that that's right, only the koyach ha'ein seif, mitzad etzem ha'ein seif, v'yecheltei lahami dovo, she'eno Metzias klau, dovo nidme b'pinas dimoyen bilvad. The whole Metzias of the clippers is only a dimoyen. It appears to be Metzias, but really it's not. Its whole Metzias is Hepech, Inyan Harotzen V'Ha'achtos, therefore it's a Metzias from Loi. B'pchinas dimoyen bilvad, she'yeh nir Metzias. The Kavona wants that the man should appear to the Bnei Odom Ayin from Metzias, V'oid B'toika from Metzias. It should, until we reach the Inyan from Amalek, what that's chutzpah, ועד כדי כך זה חוץ כלפי שמיים העניה, that he manages to get a certain trace of his way, כביכול, מצד התקף עד הישס, אבל בבאמס זה המציאס הנלוי. וזהו מה שהמציאס שלהם אין עשה של העניין האקטר. Since they have no Matthias whatsoever, Amitias, אפילו כמה שזה אפשר מצד רצוני, they don't have that cloud, therefore they're not Seisa, the Indian from Artusi is Barak. But Artusi is that Hulawadehu, Ako, Kalei Hashive Mamit. The Lachoera, Me'arasha, he freed on me, Artusi is Barak, Im Keinehu, Indian Ha'akta. We can sort of ask in a more direct or what we might call conceptual way that if the Eberster was mafrid them from his actors, then in kain eichu in actors. How can there possibly be Akdusi if he puts certain things outside Akdusi? So therefore comes the answer that Ain Beis is a cloud, that's Beklal, not a cashier. Mevnesha be'emes, Einam b'chinas Matthias cloud. Like we pointed out, the whole Matthias is Davkiloi. Or it's a Inyan from a Dimoyen Almanas Lanasis, it's a Odom, and there should be the from Bechira, the whole Harina Sayadura. But that's the Inyan of how they're not Seisa to the Inyan from Aktusi. Ach Ein Beis Seisa Klau, Mevnesha be'emes, Einam b'chinas Matthias cloud. Who gufa mepnei freedom me'akdus is bought. And that is the davkim hianosenas. The kash is the terror that since he was mafrid them me'akdusai, then they have no Matthias whatsoever. Yeah, mishum zeh einam b'chinas Matthias. Idachevasai, they're not mavalva the Indian from Amit is actors. Because they're not really there, and the whole, what they appear to be there, and they make a lot of tzoretz, and a lot of problems. Well, that's all a Indian from Dimoyen, of it's not a Indian from Matthias Amiti. V'zeh now it's understandable, the Lashon of the Pasuk, Ki Manasseh Hashem Elokechem. Hello?
I think Shimon dropped off.
Yeah, some sort of noise there.
Gafne, we're going off and on at the hearing area of the class. We're even thinking of calling up by phone because it just keeps going off and on.
I don't know what you guys have absorbed and what you haven't, I gave over a whole piece of the Maimah, and I don't know whether I should go back over it or what.
We got almost all of it. We just missed a few words.
Okay. So
it's just example. Rav Gafne is just an example of the apparent tokef. It just looks like a tokef from Matthias, but it's let's just keep going right.
Okay, so I don't know.
So that's just an example of it. Okay, sorry.
It's very confusing.
Okay, I think you just keep going now. They got almost everything.
What's this? They just missed a few seconds. All right. All right. So we got into on the basis of all we said about the Sitra Achra not being a Matthias, it's Mavalvil to Akdusias Barak, even though it appears to be a take of a Matthias. That's only mitzad to call Yochel. Aval be'emes, it's not a Matthias cloud. even that it would be Maval, Amitius Actusei. On that basis, we can understand what the Pasuk says in Sefer Dvarim in Pasha Re'eh. It's written, Ki Manasseh Hashem Elokechem Eschem. And the truth is that the Torah adds the word Lodas, that the Eibishter tries you. He puts Yidden, either individually or as a group, as a klal, he puts them to a trial. And that pasuk comes behemshel to the in of Novi HaSheker, the in from the false prophet. He can, on certain cases, the Torah brings where he can say that certain things are going to happen, and they do. And so, nonetheless, you have to stand firm and know that he's not, since he doesn't have all the necessary halachas of a Novi Emes, that you mustn't listen to it. Avil became. Why should the Eivishter do that? Why should he send a Matthias, which appears to be the truth and is really Heipach Emes? So he says, Ki Manasseh Hashem Elokeim Hitzola Anisoyen. But Lefi Zeh Nimtza the medius in an Anisoyen is beneger to Adova Ha'osur al Pitera. And sometimes Hashem tries a person beneger to a thing which is sof kol sof, not proper, al pitera, or even also mamish, be isa chomo, that he should do that. And yet, nonetheless, he's tried. Will he stand firm? Neged the dover she'ena retzainai. That's the Nisoyan akos of B'Torah. So if we're mizbeinen b'amitis ha'inyan, then we find that the inyan of all nisyonas, but even kozeh, that everything which is sent to the Adam to try him is whether he will stand firm or not give in to a certain inyan which is not Rafi Retainis Bara, or not necessarily in a Isa Deraisa, but I feel being dark, but that's neged Retainai. And we bought us a nit Retainai, Ain Beis Matthias Amitias, and therefore it's also Nifrad Legamre Me Artusis Bara. What Nintelef said that the Eibishter produces all of these inyonim, come over in Perikov Beis over there in Tanya, where the Alter Rebbe says that the whole inyan is Lanases, that there should be the inyan from Bechira, Bein Teiv Lora, Bein the inyan from Kedusha, Leifach Mizeh. And that's the immediate inyan why the clippers are there. But it's just sometimes that the Eibishter, what he's going to tell us at the end of the piece, that the Eibishter does that in order to bring a greater Gilu Elokus to the Adam, or that's the inyan from Lodas, that's in an even from Nisoyen, that literally he has every reason to do it or to believe in it, and Afal became, the Eibishter doesn't want him to do that. And that's the immediate inyan of a Nisoyen. Telechoyna, Eina Muvan, Ma Taina, Ki Manasseh, Eschem. What does the Torah say that you shouldn't listen to the Novi HaShecher? And the reason is, Ki Manasseh Hashem Elokechem Eschem Lodav. That the reason and the taina which the Eibishter has is that what are you going after something which is only a Nisoyen? So he says, Ki Manasseh Hashem Elokechem Eschem Lodav. Hari Nisoyen haloi dovahu ve'enu dovakal. What do you say to a person? Listen, don't pay any attention to the Novi HaSheker, because it's all just a billboard. It's a inyan from Manasseh, And that's why we don't want you to listen to it. So he says that the Nisayan is not a easy matter. And it appears to be a very firm Matthias. Because after all, what the Novi Sheker said came true. That's not an easy thing, that a group of people should just stand and that are not paying attention to it. And he said, why does the kill the Torah Taina that sins? It's just a Manasseh. It's only in the Soyen. Then you should be able to become puddle from it. If you know it's in the Soyen, then you can get out of it. But what sort of a offer of an idea is that when the Nesoyen ain't a Hanami? It's only a Nesoyen of it's a Dova and it's not an easy thing, Klau. So it's okay, I know it's a Nesoyen, but Sof Kosof, it's what it is. So he says, Achainenu, the Dvar HaNesoyen, Usha Dova Atzmai, Ein Shum Metzias Klau. He said the whole Indian of the Etzem Nesoyen, what the Novi Sheker brought about something which is actually happened. He was manabed that a certain thing would happen, and it did. He said that's Usha Adova Atzmei Ein Shum Metzias. Well, that in itself, what happens, the Dova that is trying you, well, that is no Metzias whatsoever. Rakshahulmad, just like we said, it's a koyach of the Ain Beis, that he can present it and make it stand in such a way, that it should be have the toikev to be a trial for you. He said, it's not daima to things that they have in themselves a kavona elokis. That means to say that in them themselves there's a certain kavona from the Eibishter. For example, if we take kol advorim hagashmiyim hamutorim, all Gashmi's things, whether they be chai or tzomeach, or even daimem, those of them that are mutar, yachol liyos bohem kavona elokis. It could be that the Eibishter has a certain kavona in that thing itself, not in the negation of that thing, but the thing itself as a kavona elokis. V'zehu atachlis shelehem. The ultimate purpose and the ultimate aim of their creation is that kavona. He said, Hariheim befinas matzias doa. Due to the fact that the Eibishter has a certain aim from them, then that's kolol in Akdusei. Because Akdusei is mitzad retzoni or amiti, and since he has a certain rotzen, with the word rotzen is called the word kavona, in that particular inyan, then they are called a matzias dova amiti, which is not says as we must be earlier. It's not Seisa to Klau, to Inyan Ha'aktas. Ma'ashenkin and a Soyen, the etzem event or thing which occurs, which is on the Soyen, ain't a Shum Metzias Be'atzmai. It's only just that the Eibishter, like the etzem clippers themselves, the Eibishter makes them be there with his omnipotence, but they're not really a Metzias. We don't really mean them in any way at all. וכאשר האדם עומד בנשוין, הרי הוא מסבטל לגמרי. And therefore, if the mensch stands in the nesoyin, like in the first dogma, the Novi Sheker, and he refuses to be makabel, the thing that happened, because he knows that that's not Lafi, the halachas of Ritzeni is Barat. And he stands firm and he says, no, that will not and cannot ultimately be Ritzeni v'kavanose. When he stands firm, then the Nesoyen misbattle. The etzem Nesoyen itself just disappears. Ve'en onisha shum reisham klau. And there's not left any trace of what was that whole billboard. It's just gone completely. Vein anisha shum reason from the whole union. So he said, L'chayra, we could say that gam bohem yesh nitzutz eliki. Since the thing appears in the world, and l'chayra must have a nitzutz eliki, he said, V'hainu akavon eliki. So if you have yourself a nitzutz of elikus, every created being has got some trace of elikus amitias which is holding it. And that's a nitzutz eloki. Nitzutz eloki means mamish metzias elokis. It's mamish elikus. If it's a nitzutz eloki, then there must be some inyan mitzad retzeinei. Why is it there, and what is it there for? What is its inyan? So he said the very fact that it has a nitzutz eloki, it means that it must have kavona, because there's no inyan milmaila, like we've learned on many occasions, she'ein b'zeh kavona v'rotzen meduyak. So therefore he said, so how does all this come together? She'ein zeh she'behem yesh kavona elikis. He said they don't have any kavona elikis whatsoever. Therefore they don't have a nitzutz eliki. I mean the details of the nesoyim. They don't have a nitzutz eliki in them, beklal. And they're just a demoyen, like we said before. Kiyim, he said the whole inyan of the kavona is davki in the odom. In other words, that the thing which is the nesoyim, that's not what the Eibishter means. That's not his kavona beklal. It's only in order that you should do something. In other words, Baha'odom, Shoim had been Nisoyen, that he should stand in the Nisoyen, Shalo Yaseh Hadova Bazeh, Huakavon Elki. That he shouldn't do this particular thing, which is being tried and tempted, as we might say, by the Nisoyen. That's all. He shouldn't do that. That's a Kavon Elki. Aber Mela nimmt the rotzen and the kavona, and the nitzutz is in the odom, and we want to improve the gilui of the nitzutz elaki in the odom, and therefore we send him a inyan which is just a demoyen, and a inyan which ain't bezer matzias klau. Aber he said b'nesoyen atzmai lo yesh inyan elaki. There's no divine inyan whatsoever. Chutz. Me inyan lanasot es odom. B'mila, the nesoyen is aimed at the odom, and therefore it can be a thing that has no matzias whatsoever, because we don't mean the nesoyen beklal. We don't even mean it to really be there. We just mean it to appear to the odom that it's there in the form of a problem, and therefore if we mean the odom, not the zach. And therefore, if the odom stands in the Shalo Yaseh Dova, Bezehu HaKavona, that's the Kavona Eloki. Avo Ban HaSoyen Atzmei Lo Yesh Inyan Eloki. And he's Meisef in the brackets, V'lochein Ein Lo Yaliyah Klal. You can't be Ma'aleh, the Dova HaNasoyen, which means that you don't get anywhere by trying to be Mitasek in the Dova HaNasoyen. If you busy yourself and you're Manasseh, and you try to be Mavatal or to be Ma'aleh, and to cause an Aliyah in the Dvar HaNasoyen, then you're not going to get anywhere klal. Lama to call Dova HaNasoyen, Be'ezo even Shiyeh, U Dova HaOsor. Like we pointed out before, ultimately the Eibishter doesn't want you to do that. Im Begasus Im Bedaka is, it's a dova also. Therefore, since it's also, then it's kosher. Also, the kosher b'dei achitzanium. And we just said that the chitzanium ain't lehem aliyah. The Eibusha doesn't mean them in such a way that we should be ma'aleh them, because they're not a matzias mitzad ritzoinei. There's nothing to be ma'aleh. Mashekein and a dova hamuta, At the moment it doesn't have an aliyah, but the reason it was put there is that you should be Isaac Bezer v'ma'aleh. But with an Nesoyan, Hashem doesn't want you to be Mesasik with the Nesoyan, because the Nesoyan itself has no Matthias. He wants you to be Mesasik Ba'atzmacho, that you have to be Meschazik, and you have to be Oilam, Bebitochen, V'chulu, V'chulu, and Ali they said that Nesoyan will become bottled, B'derem HaMelech, because it has no Matthias, and you're not meant to be Mesasik with the Etzem Nesoyan. And that's what he adds now, K'may Shekosu, B'Sefer Shol Beinonim, V'ayam HaShekosu, B'drush Tiku, Eta B'diba Mascho Nea Chanukah. So what does he mean by Sefer Shol Beinonim? Like we said in Perek Kaf Aleph and Kaf Beis, B'miyuchad, that's the whole Indian, the Indian of Adova also, that it's whole Indian as that you shouldn't do it, you shouldn't be Masasikim there, because all the Dvarim Asurim believe shall heder Amachias. As Ain Malet Asek V'zeh Klal, only to be Masasik Biatmai. And that's what that's what he sends to the Drush Tiku. He means the big first Hemshech in Sefer Mamorim Eter, in the Dibra Mascho Nea Chanukah Mitzvah Lahanich Al Pesach Bezim Mebechod. But over there, Behem Shchamaima, he's masber the whole Indian, how the Dvarim Asurim have no real Matthias. And then he also mentions the infant Nesoyan. But that's here, and therefore, Ain point or tachlis that the Adam should be Mesasikim zeh, ki Ain b'yacholteinu klal, to be Mesasikim zeh. He said, V'loi kamoy advarim amutorim, and that can't be compared over to the dvarim amutorim, which are also dvarim gashmiyim. The dvarim would appear to be namuchim and local value. So therefore he says, "Shebohem atzmai he atzmon he a kavanah elokis," that the Eibishter has in them a certain kavanah. In other words, that each and every dover gashmi has a certain kavanah, like it's brought down at the end of Pir Hiovis, at the end of the 6th Perek. In Pir Hiovis, we say that Kol Mashabora HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ba'ilomai Loi Bora Ela Lechuedai. What Lefi said comes to us that every Indian in the Bria, I feel that one that we don't understand, that if they're in some way or another, they're Moisef Bikfeidai of the Eberstein. And so, B'zeh Gufa, we could say that Shnei Yoifanim, that the Dvarim HaAsurim, they're Moisef Kovid to the Eberster, Alidei what you don't do them. And Alidei what you don't do them, then you cause a Teisefes, Begilui Retzaini is Barak and Befrat in the Adam Sha'omet B'zeh. And Mashenkin, the Dvarim Gashmim, which are Mutorim, they themselves are a emissary Matthias Hakolo B'teik Akdusei, because in them themselves there's a certain rotzen, which is the kavanah and the purpose and the aim which Hashem has in them. Is that every Indian become a Makemas and Svarim, that every Indian, I feel reptiles and I feel kleiner Sachen, what appear to have no real Indian bohem cloud, they're all Moisef B'kfoidoi Yisbora. And therefore, we find a very interesting thing as brought down in the Shara Mitzvahs and the Arisal, and Ba'id Makoimas, it's mentioned. You should be very careful not to kill any living being. Afila, what appears to be a dover tofel v'shofel, that you shouldn't kill it Elohim Kain as mazik begolui mafurish tzador amazik, either leyochid or lerabim, of a stam hagen and azach, tomenet. And I once heard from the Kloisenberg, I once heard of even a SHIUR, he said, a fly cricks on your nose. He said, so what do? You slap it and you kill it. So he said, you shouldn't do that. He said, what is the fly should eat that's crochen by deer up the nose? That it happened to creep on your nose. It just flies anywhere. It doesn't have any particular idea whether that's your nose or another. So you don't have what to be koyas and makpid on the fly, and the far kommt die Miese was gekrochen auf dein nose. So I remember him saying, well, if he said kommt is that everything has a certain place. Whether it be mitzad the union of shlila, or whether it be mitzad the union von chiyuv, but that's the kavon elokisha b'dvarim mutorim. And him to the bevade dvarim amutorim, they have a mile and a certain ilui legabi the dvarim asurim. Of a so-called sov, everything is moisiv bekveda yisbarak. Ma'ashenken is a bedvarim asurim, ainum mipnei sheloi bahem ya kavon elokis. They themselves don't have any kavon elokis mamish, but toichom ki'im beha'odam. The kavon elokus is that the odom should stand against them and not do them. That's a ilui in the odom mitzadeh. But not that there's any kavon elokis in the etzem dover ha'osar. And that's the kesher with nesoyen. It's really basically, I know how, it's really so the same inyan. And how the Rebbe adds like this, and he says, if we take the inyan a little sort of deeper and a more b'derech what we might call musag, he says, she'ein tzeh sha'kavon elokis hi oisa hador. He said, if we examine the inyan from dvarim asurim, how they become a inyan from a trial to the mensch, and they become an asoyen, then the biur is that the purpose and the rotzen of the Eibishter is not in that thing itself. In other words, that normally we say that why would a thing be there? Because Hashem has some purpose. Nothing can be there without a purpose. So if a thing is there, then it must mean that the Eibishter had a purpose that it be there. So he said the Inafan and Asoyan has a very rare aspect to it, that even though it appears to be a Metzias, the emes is that the Eibishter has no kavona in that Metzias at all. Rak sheyesh b'zeh kavona sheha'odam. The kavona is davki in the bench. Shehu yamid negative. In other words, that we produce a whole, what looks to be a whole situation against himotzerus, but take zeh ha'olam, and the whole purpose of that is only you. The whole purpose is that you should be stronger, and you should be an azar even she'odam yamid negative. They stand against the inyan of the Nesoyim. Yushlam ha-kavona elokis. But there is a kavona elokis in Nesoyim, but not in the zach in the Nesoyim atzmei. Nicht in the zach is the kavona. The kavona is in something else, and there's something else is you. There's something else is the odam, and alidei what the odam, will stand in that inyan. That's what he's now moisiv. Rak sheyesh b'zeh kavona. What is the kavona? She'odam yamid neged zeh v'alidei zeh yushlam ha-kavona elokis. The kavona elokis in the ganze Nesoyim is the odam, and the kavona is that he should be oyemed neged zeh. And so what's the kavona b'zeh? He should be yeloi giloi oyer naila. And through that, he will then be zeicha to a much greater, elevated and pneumistic light in his life. And that's what the Pasuk adds over there. And it says, Ki manase Hashem elokechem eschem lo das. And it's well known that the Inyan van das is not referring to Hashem, chas v'sholem. He doesn't need to know. So the kavanah is that alidei, that you will stand in Nasoyin, and the Dafki will go against the Nasoyin, and that will bring the kavanah lakis to you in such a way that you will be zeicha to das. What das is the Inyan of Iskashras, Pnimius, V'atmius, and Elikus, harbe lamayla than what you had before. And that's the Inyan of the kavanah. The kavanah is that the autumn should be eile, biskashrusai, v'diyosai, be'elokim chayim. אבל לא איש הכויח האלוקי הוא הדבר. אבל not that the koyach האלוקי is the zach. The zach is gones. Now the whole koyach האלוקי is the kavanah b'shvil ha'adam. And that's a nimtza, that it's the whole Indian is a dover she be'etzem eino nimtza. It's only made to appear that you should have an aliyah pnimiyah. He said, Loisha koyach elaki hu adover ahu, ki elakus hu dover. And he puts in brackets, is azach, meaning that if we're talking about Metzias, then elakus is the Amazon Metzias. Of Amela elakus is azach. Or masha nifrad me elakus, of a thing which suggests or puts forth a possibility of doing something which is not retine, which means it's outside elakus, and that's the inyan of nifrad me akdusai, and therefore masha nifrad me elakus ain't of a Matthias dover klal. It doesn't have any existing entity klal. He said, "Of kol dover she'ain Beis isa." You have adrava, yesh b'zeh kavona elokis, ariseh b'chidem Matthias dover. Like we pointed out at the beginning, anything which is a Matthias dover, l'cher is mavalvel to akdusay. However, he said that the Matthias dover of kedusha is in such a way that ein lecha dover shechutz mimena. Since that's koilo, retainai v'akdusay, and akdusay is embraces also that inyan, even though it's got a certain Matthias, well, that's retainai guva, that you should be there, and nonetheless you should be bottled, and that's the nakuda of keeping retainai's bottle. So therefore he says, Nasalin yoneinu, shezeh dover poshet, that we started off by saying that we can't possibly say that there's any such thing as a koyach eloki, which is nifrad, mim koinoi, because if it was like that, derech mamela, if it was nifrad, be'ez shu'evan, yeah, me a kavon eloki, so me retain his body, then it just wouldn't be able to exist. It just has no Matthias whatsoever. And therefore he says that that's what we started off with at the beginning of the whole passage, that we said Shezeh Dover Poshet by Ali Yidden, and by Ali Yidden Bein Bekol Yochin, and Bein Betor Klau, She'ein Shum Dover Nifrad, that nothing can be Nifrad, and that anything which is Nifrad is not really there. It's not really a Matthias Klau. Shezehu Amuna Peshuta to Neshomes Yisrael Bakdusi is Barak. That's why Ali Yidden have an Amuna Peshuta Davki in the Inyan Akdusay. Allah is Mavai and Tanya Barucha, that the Emasi Inyan of Aveda Zorah is something which is Chutz Me'atzmusay, something which says that it's also a Matthias apart from Aktus Avaya, but that's the Midas Yinaf and Aveda Zorah. That's the Nakuda, the Rachmani Natlan of Aveda Zorah. And like his Masbi and the Prochim, Bein Yud Ches LeKovo, that's so the union of an Avera, Rahman in Islam. Upon him, that's how we finish off, that even though we've been must be the Indian Lafiera, he said the immediate grasp that all Yidden have been through the meaning of Enamuna. Why do we mention Dauki the meaning of Enamuna? As a well-known considers that Emuna is the acceptance. It's not just a belief. It's the idea pnimis and the acceptance of something which is l'mayla mi'asoge, so. And that Indian, that there can be a Indian which is not a Indian, and it's not a Matthias klal, and there can be something which is a Matthias, and yet nonetheless it's kolo b'teik akdusei borach, well, that's a dover l'mayla mi'asoge in the simple sense. And therefore the Rebbe stresses at the beginning and at the end that for that you need the Inifan Emunah. And therefore he said, V'tzorik lo, we now read the Kitzur. V'tzorik lohovin, if we're going to say that the Inifan Koyach, like we started off with the whole difference between Koyach and Oyer, and the whole definitional concept of the Inifan Koyach. So he said the Inyan Koyach Lamaila is not like it is Lamata, that it's a Inyan which is Dovuk. As Lama Hu Helam is, why does it come in the form, in the way it's Poyo? In the Nivroim is that it appears to be a Dovuk Nivdal, because it's Nelam, it's not recognizable how it's kosher to Elokut. V'yudua, even it's brought down at certain Maimorim, that a koyach is like a koyach nivdal, that through the inif and the rishimo and the inif and chitzenius amalchus, it appears to be like a dover nivdal, how do you call it, a thing which is separated and mim koyrei. He said, Akbe emasu, you can't describe the inif and koyach, how it is lamaila, to what it appears to be lamata. He said, Be'emas hu dovu. And he said, how it can be both? Both a koyach nivdo. That's even mavur, and I said, my mother, I feel in this emsher, that it's a dover nivdo. So how can it be, both things are true, that it appears to be a dover nivdo, and yet nonetheless it's dovuk. So he says, V'hu emuna. But that's the Inyan from Emunah, Peshuta, She'ein Dover Chutz Mimenu, that there's nothing which is really, even from Nivdal, Chas v'sholem, Me Elakut. And he said, Gam Matthias Ayesh. He said, even what appears to be the Yesh, Lamata, is also B'tachlis HaBitl V'koshur, V'dovuk Elakusei. And he said, Rak HaKlippah, like we said, that's the sort of the actors of Hashem Echad, the Davkir, that even though there's certain things appear to be a Yesh Lamat, and nonetheless a Botel, even at their Chelik Me Akdusei, he said, Rak HaKlippahs. So if he said, we asked, what's the whole Inyan? That a Matthias of the Klippahs. So he said that his Havusam Mipchinas Dein Lo Yahanyali, like the Lashon of the Medrash. But I get to the famous statement of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, Boiroi Oilamhas, Umachrivon, that the Eivishter created worlds and then destroyed them. But that's the remez in the Lashon of the Medrash to Oilam Atayu, and it's written Dein Lo Yahanyali, that the Eivishter says that he doesn't really want that. That's not really what he means. As if he didn't really mean it, then it's mufrad me'akdusei. It can't be part of akdusei. And therefore he said here, freedon me'akdusei is barad. And that's way back in the Shoirash, the whole meaning of the Shiras HaKelim, the Toyu, is the beginning of the Yitziyah of these inyonim michutz le'ha'aktas. Because Dein Lo Yahanya, he didn't really mean that. Ain Beis Heder HaMatthias. And therefore, they really have no Matthias. It's only a apparent Matthias. וזהו שאין זה סויסה לעניין הארטס. And therefore the Matthias of the clippers is not soisa לעניין הארטס. וזה עניין הניסיונות. He said, now we'll understand the trials that are sent to the Yohid or the Klal. שאין זה Matthias לעצמי כלל. Well, this is not a Matthias to itself, the Etzem Nesoyen, which involves the Dover also, whether Begasses or Bedakis, then he said, V'atzmai Klal. Because Shem Oimed Ben Nesoyen Mizbatel Legamrei, then the whole thing just becomes bottle. He said, Ain Beis Nesoyen Atzmai Inyan Eloki. What the word Inyan means, Me'ez etzad, that you will look, whether you'll say mitzad actors, but the penimus from that is retainer, but kavanose, mitzad all of these musogim, that in is not really there. He said, Ki'im, Ain Beis Nesoyen Atzmai Inyan Eloki, Ki'im B'ha'odom. The whole thing is we mean demand. We mean to get a demand, Stavke, Sheyamed b'nisoyim, that he should stand in the infinite nisoyim. Umishum zeh eino dova. It's not really a zach, and that's why I put in brackets before that the only thing he can say with a finality and with a certainty that it is a zach, a thing, that's elokud, because even the existence of Dvorim Shibakidusha is also Eino Matthias like Abba Kodesh Baruch. It's only that he has a certain kavanah with them. However, the immediate of Matthias is only him. And therefore he says, Kol Shkem v'Kol V'chema, when I get to the clippers, and he said, Mishum Tzeh, Eino Dova, V'lochein, Eino Aliyah, there's nothing to be, as it were, mitasek with the etzem nesoyen. It's not tried to be maleh because there's nothing to be maleh. It has no nitzot eloki. Mashen kain, but dvarim hagashmim v'hamutorim are things which, even though they're gashmim, over their mutter, they they have a place within the halachas and the laws of Yiddishkeit. Therefore, yesh behem kavona. They have a kavona in themselves. V'haloi dover hein. They are, a certain extent, a dover. Like we said, that dover is bottled to the emes dover of Matthias of the Eberster. Therefore, it's not seisa to Akdusay, because it's only it's given a certain genuine state of Matthias, which is not to be compared to the genuine state of Matthias of Elokut. And therefore he said we can call it Dover. A Kamuhan, not in the way that the Abish does Dover, or Ba'achoponim, that they have a certain real trace within the plan of the Abish's actors. So based on the one on Klal, that you never finish without beginning the next chapter, or when you finish the Masechta, you go back to the beginning of the Masechta. So we begin with Shin Lamed Beis, was that's the Inyan from Shlav. What Shlav means like a portion of an advancement. So therefore he says, Omnom, Gam Be'asoge, Musag, somebody tried to record, but I don't think. Yeah, anyway, the truth of the matter is that we've been talking that the emes way that the Odom can relate to all these inyonim as b'derech hamuna. However, now he adds, and in the coming chapter he's going to show, he says, Gam b'asoga musag u'murga sha'inya. The b'chinas koyach ha'poyo ein ha'nefert chashom. He said, we're going to be able to be masbia how that really is, afilo in hasoga, that even though the koyach hapuyo nifal appears to be a dover nivdal, and it's even called sometimes a dover nivdal, that it's not really, and be'emes it's betaklis advekes, be'elikus, we were able to be masbeh that afilo basoge. But that is a that we were hinting in the previous chapter that you can only really relate to Ain Kamozeh be'emunah pshuta. So now he's going to say that there is a way in Asoga that we can, as it were, oblige or compel to say that the the koyach hapoel is not nifra. And how does that work? He said it's in the famous piece in Tanya Sefer Shalbenim Chelik Beis, but that means Shara Yichud Ve'emunah in Peri Beis. But there the Alter Rebbe is masbeh that the Indian the creation of the worlds is not like a smithy that he makes a kli. That gam kishohila b'shuk v'yodu musulochis imela. Once he's made the kli and he's left it finished, and he goes out into the market and doing his inyonim, and his hands are completely separate from it altogether. Nonetheless, it continues to be the way it is, and like the beer over there has it, that because he wasn't mechadish be'etzem machias or be'etzem mahus hadover klal. He was only mechadish a'inim betzuras hadover. That's to say, in the shape of the inyan, or in the etzem mahus machias of the metal or the wood or what it should be from which it was made, he wasn't mechadish anything. Therefore, it has a certain independence apart from him over the oilamas. The Kol HaNivroim are not like that. And they need every moment and every second the hands kavioho of the Eibusha. Well, that's what he's going to be mavaya, and on that basis we'll move further in the whole concept of how koyach is be'emes Ain Nivdal. So I think we'll pause there for this evening. Just suffice it to say that we're now moving from Vayichi. What is very interesting in Parsha Vayichi, not far from the end, after all the brachas that Yaakov Avinu gives to the sons, it's written over there, Vayigva Vayosef El Omer Yasef Raglo Velamita Vayigva Vayasef Anea Sofel Amor. Rashi is medayik on the spot. Rashi says, "Avo misa loinam aboy." Or the word misa is not used in reference to Yaakov Avinu. Malamed, says Rashi, that comes to teach us, Yaakov Avinu lo made. Full stop. Without any view, what does that mean? How do we? Rashi only tells us the simple pshat of any pasuk. Rashi writes that Yaakov Avinu lo made. And so the Rabbeinu Bechaya is masber a whole inyan. V'nekela says that tzaddikim is not shy to say that he's made and he's kayim gam beguf gam benefesh. But a ganz harichas was saying kind of mohim laharik b'zeh, berega zeh. Auch upon him, das is the Indian from Vayichi. But the whole parsha, despite the fact that it deals with Yaakov Avinu's passing, and then also the passing of Yosef HaTzadik and Chulu, nonetheless the whole parsha is called Vayichi. But that's the Indian of Yechi Metavo. What the Vov is Dima van Amshocha, come over Bechsillet. And then we move on to Pasha Shmois. Well, Pasha Shmois is the Inyan from Golas. Rahman in Atlan, he describes at length the whole Inyan from the Golas, and towards the end of the Parsha, how the Golas gets worse even. Rahman in Atlan, things really start going crazy until the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu, what he's Chochmah of Kedusha, and he's the Tachlis of Kedusha, and Moshe Rabbeinu has a kasha, Kaviochel. So that's indicatory of just how profound the Inyan of the Goddess was. And yet, nonetheless, we see that Medrash says that Yidden never changed their identity and they never gave in to the Goddess. They never really were makabel that their Metzias is shayach to Goddess. And there are many indications of it in the Parsha, but since I'm running out of koyach at the moment, I just can't go into the whole arichas. But suffice it to say that the whole fact that Yosef, a tzaddik, was there in Mitzrayim before the whole Inyan from the Golas, he was the one that gave the koyach to Yidden, that they could be in the Golas and yet not recognize the Golas, and not be really part of the Golas, despite its tremendous intensivity, particularly towards the end of the Parsha. And Yosef HaTzadik is the Nasinas Koyach. And so, B'derech Remez, everybody understands who Yosef HaTzadik is. And then we see that in the Golas, there's a posik in the long Golas, the last Golas of Edom, it's written that Noyeh Katzoin Yosef, that in the time that Yidden are going to be in the Inyan, and as it were, Shalei Be'eretz Yisrael, then the leader is Yosef, Noyeh Katzoin Yosef, that Yosef is going to lead the whole Jewish people like a flock. And so Yesh Lema, that Yosef is Koilo Beidin Yonim. He's Koilo both the Inyan from Yesod, that's one of these midas Yesod, and he's also Koilo the meaning from Malchus, because Sof the Yemas Yichad of Yesod, when he's Miyuchad with Malchus. So the Noyeh Katzoin Yosef is the Friedrich Rebbe and the Rebbe. And Be'ikeh, the Rebbe, is the one that carries out the whole eventual Taklis of Yesod, which is Gilui B'kol Ha'olam Biyah, and that's the Inyan for Malchus, to bring about the Gilui Kipshutei, Afilu B'olam HaTaktonim. That's the Inyan for Malchus Shabi Yosef, or the Yichad of Yosef met Malchus. Upon him, what it means is, as we're going to be determined that we're not going to be mispoiled from the Golas anymore, but are going to go with the Tekef and Yosef, and from the Rebbe Be'ikah Benegelas Manenu, and that's Noyeh Katzoin Yosef, and it's going to be in our even from we want Mashiach now, and then from Kabbalahs, Pnei Mashiach, we should be in Makabel, take him miyad, take Simcha, the two Levov, and Emes Gesund, and Emes Nachas, the Gula Shlema. Okay, guys, so I don't know who was hearing all this, but we have to hope that at least somebody heard it.
Yeah, we heard it. We heard it clear. Amen.
Amen. Very good. That's very good. Okay, so. All of a sudden, in the last couple of minutes, I can see you guys in Krachabad. I don't know if you can see me, but all of a sudden I can see you guys there. Oh, now all of a sudden I see myself also. I've been rattling away the whole time, and all of a sudden I appear. There's a sign that if you rattle away enough, then you appear. Yeah. So I got here a message, we all heard it. Very good. And what about you, Shia? Did you hear it? He's gone.